Creating graphics. This is where the fun begins. Things you need to know. Top half left-hand corner of the screen is 0, 0. Your x's get bigger in this direction just like they do in math. So this is our x value. They get bigger in this direction in computer science, which is the opposite of math. So that's your y value. Your screen is about 1800 across. It's a little bit bigger on the size of your big screen in the computer lab, and probably a bit smaller if you have a laptop. It'll go down to around 900, again a bit bigger in class, probably smaller on your laptop. So what would this point be? Our x value is over 1800 and down 900. And what about the center of the screen? Half of 1800 would be 900, and half of 900 would be 450. So you can specify any point you want on the screen by specifying the x and the y. So if we had a point here, let's say I'm doing hundreds, so this would be the point over 100, down 200. So how far over, how far down? How to create a program that draws graphics. The very first step, you import Pygame, initialize the screen. Type this code in. What can you change? You can change the size of your screen. How wide? How tall? That creates a window. So this window is 1100 across and 500 down. If you want it bigger, make these numbers bigger. If you want it smaller, make it smaller. Then you declare any colors you want to use. The colors are specifying how much red, how much green, and how much blue. So the first number is the red, the second one is the green, and the third one is the blue. So if you look at our first one, which said red equals 255, 0, that's all red. It's a fairly bright red, and you can make different versions if you want. They don't have to be all 255. Your number can go anywhere from 0 to 255. So all red, all blue, all green. Black is always 0, 0, 0, so nothing of anything. And white is 255, 255, 255. Yellow happens to be this one. And if you're looking for more, go to Paint. In Paint, you can pick your own color. If you click on it, it'll highlight and show you the colors, and then you can pick the actual one you want. And then this tells you how much red and green to put in. So we could put in a different color red. What do we want to call that? Maybe we could call it light red. And we could say that light red would have the numbers 238, 70, and 51. So you can name any color you want. And again, Paint is a great way of picking colors. So that's 238, 70, and 51. So feel free to experiment with the Paint program. You click and it'll tell you exactly what numbers you want for the amount of red, green, and blue. So you name on your colors. Then you draw things. I'll give you an explanation of what's going on here, but what we would have drawn there is this little smiley face. So we filled the screen with green. That's where that came from. We drew a white rectangle. That's the outside white rectangle. We drew a yellow circle. So that's the circle here. We drew 2 ellipses for the eyes. So that's these 2. We drew an arc for the mouth. And then a super important line of code, update your image. If you ever find you've done a drawing and nothing shows up, I'm going to be asking you to show me where your update is. So make sure you include the update. You'll also notice that I'm including lots of comments. When you get into graphics, to keep yourself organized, let yourself know what you're doing. So I'm telling myself, this is the head, this is the left eye. And then if you ask me a question and say, this isn't quite working, and I say, well, take me to the left eye and we'll look at it, you'll know exactly where to go. Then we add a loop at the end, and this loop just simply says, keep the window active and allow me to quit when I feel like it. That allows you to click the X button at the end. So when you program, you would put those 4 things in every program. So let me just back up. We'd put all this code in, whatever colors you want in, some drawings in, and then this loop to end the code. The only thing that really changes is this. So what you draw will be up to you. So let's talk about the things we can draw. Screen dot fill color. This is how you get color on the screen. So for example, if I'm using blue and I ask the screen to fill with blue, I'll get a blue screen. You can draw a line. The code for the line, you say pygame.draw.line screen, whatever color you want, top left-hand corner, bottom right-hand corner. So we're going to draw black on our blue background. It's going to start at 0, 0, go over to 50, 50, and this is the thickness. So it started here. This was our 0, 0 point. So that was the first one right here. Then it went over to 50, 50. So that would be the point 50, 50 on the screen. And then the thickness of 5 just says this line is thicker than a normal line. That might be a normal line, and the thickness of 5 is fairly thick. So you can change that to whatever thickness you want. If you would like to draw yourself a rectangle, so rectangles, squares, the code, pygame.draw.rect, screen, whatever color you want, top left-hand corner, and then how far over, how far down. So this code will take a white color and we'll start at 1020 and go over 5050. So it doesn't look very much like a rectangle, and I'll explain why in a minute. So this is the point 1020. And unlike the line, which went over to 5050, this one goes over 50, down 50. So the ending point, 10 over 50, would put me at 60. And then 20 down 50 puts me at 70. So keep in mind, most of the code asks you how far over and how far down. The rare one that doesn't is the line, which actually gives it an ending point. Now, why does this not look like a rectangle? It's because we made our line so thick. So this is a thickness of 10. If you made a smaller number, it wouldn't look so bad. The other thing you can do is if you don't put that in at all, what would happen is you'd end up, I can't draw white, I'll just show you with the yellow. It would end up coloring the whole thing in white. So if you don't include the thickness, it'll just color the whole shape in for you and you'll get a nice solid color in there. All right, let's keep going. What else can we do? If you would like to draw a circle, the code, pygame.draw.circle, screen, whatever color you want, center point of your circle, radius, thickness. So what does this look like? This gives us a red circle at 2020. So this point right here is the point 2020. The radius of our circle is 10. So the distance from here to here is 10. And there's no thickness. So the radius was 10. There was no number for thickness. That was just 0 or left out completely. And that's why it colored it in. We can draw an ellipse. To draw an ellipse, so that was the eye that we had in the smiley face. Looks a lot like a circle, only it's bigger in one direction. So screen, whatever color you want, top left-hand corner, how far over, how far down, and the thickness. So let's look at this one. So what you're doing is you're imagining a rectangle drawn around this. And the coordinates of the rectangle, this top left-hand corner is 30, 20. So that's the point 30, 20. And then it goes over 50, so a distance of 50 in this direction, and down 70. And again, why is this so thick? Because we told it to have a thickness of 10. Polygons. Anytime you get beyond circles and squares and you have drawings with lots and lots of points, you want to use a polygon. Pygame.draw.polygon, screen, whatever color you want, and all the points you're drawing. So I have x1, x2, x3, x4, but down here decided only to do 3 points. So you can use polygon with any number of points. This is just to give you an idea. I can use 40 points if I want. So what does that draw? Draws as a triangle because we start at the point 100, 100. The next point in our polygon, 100, 400. And the next point in our polygon, 400, 300. And then it connects them with a line. The thickness of the line is determined by the last number. So a thickness of 2, much thinner than those 10 ones. So again, feel free to use any thickness you want. And if you don't put it in, it just colors the whole thing in for you. Drawing an arc. This is a little bit tricky. We'll spend some time looking at this one. Pygame.draw.arc, screen, whatever color you want. Top left-hand corner, how far over, how far down. Starting angle, stopping angle, thickness. Okay, let's try it. So what happened here? You're imagining a rectangle going around this. Top left-hand corner of the rectangle would be 100, 200. So that's 100, 200. Goes over 50 and down 70. So this distance is 50. This distance is 70. Now, what else do we have? We have a start angle and a stop angle. So the start angle in this one is 0. And the way computer science works, you're going to imagine a circle. And the angles are actually measured in something called radians. Grade 12 students, you'll learn that. Computer science students, you'll just have to believe that this is 0. All the way to here is 3.14. And if you go all the way around, this would be 6.28, which is double 3.14, so that makes a bit of sense. Halfway between 0 and 3.14 would be 1.57. And halfway between 3.14 and 6.28 is 4.78. So we said that we want to draw our circle starting at 0. So it starts at 0, goes all the way until the number 4.78. So it stops there. So that's why this one stopped there, started there. So imagine you were drawing a smiley face. If you were drawing a smiley face, what part of the circle would you want? There's our circle. Our numbers, we had 0, 3.14, 6.28. And we'll draw ourselves a little smiley face and see where it starts and ends. So a smiley face might start here and go all the way to there. So our starting angle would be 3.14, and our ending one, 6.28. If you wanted a frown, you'd be doing this section. That would start at 0 and end at 3.14. The last number, that was just the thickness of the line. That was this one right here. And that's how thick that line is. Okay, so what do you need to do? You're going to do assignment 7A. In 7A, what I'm asking you to do is draw a square, a rectangle, a triangle, a circle, and a diamond. Put them anywhere you want on the screen, any size you want, any color you want. So what I tend to do is I tend to copy these lines, paste them in my code, and then just change the numbers so it matches the drawing. Huge suggestion, draw this on graph paper first. I have computer science graph paper for you. Put it on graph paper because then you'll know exactly what your X and Y values are. If you try and do it just making up numbers, it's pretty painful. After 7A, 7B, you're going to draw a person on a road. You decide what it looks like. Just draw a fairly simple drawing because after 7B, we're going to hit 7C, where you're going to make the most amazing drawing ever. And my expectations are pretty high for 7C. So with 7C, to get a really good drawing, use a lot of repetition. So imagine you were drawing a brick wall. You would draw one brick, and then you'd use a loop, and your loop would put in all the other bricks for you. So you'd get lots of detail without actually working very hard. So your goal in 7C is to get a super detailed image, but make the computer do the work for you. So again, if you can get something that repeats, so I've done a brick wall by just working with one brick and having a loop do the rest. Then what else could we add in here that would repeat? So that's your goal. Start with 7A, get me some shapes. 7B, person on a road. 7C, an amazing drawing. Let the fun begin.